all the energy, all the very best in the first 8 to 12 hours. Well then, if you leave them an additional day or 2 days or a week, whatever, they go back and they regraze the plants that they grazed on the first day. Did you hear that? So they take a second bite. And they're like, darn it, I used to do this.
You see it?
Yeah, I mean, these plants, I mean, you can't help it. You are where you're at. I'm just telling you, when you move the animals and they're not allowed to take that second bite on the same plant, now you've left a larger solar collector intact to catch more energy from the sunlight, and therefore your recovery period is going to be shorter. You can come back sooner because you left this huge, powerful machine. Folks, you don't want to use the roots to grow your plant root, to grow your top back. There's carbohydrates stored in these roots. You want to keep that for a drought or a winter or a really maybe tough fall where you don't get any fall growth. Now you can use those carbohydrates, but don't get in the practice of using them to grow back the plant. That's all I'm saying. Folks, and so the lower you make the animals graze in here, the more likelihood you're going to have parasites in your animals. The longer they're walking in their manure, they're picking up parasites. So they're reinfesting themselves. Okay? That's why, I mean, she made the mention she'd never seen a group of cattle any shinier. That's why they're so darn shiny. Every 12 hours, every 10 to 12 hours, they're getting a fresh paddock. About this size. They've been on here, you said 2 weeks?
About a week.
Yeah, about a week. So they're not getting any energy. There's no energy being consumed in those cows. I don't see a lot of clover in here. I think it'll come. There's a little piece right there. I think it'll come with the right grazing management. There's some clover. No, it's not.
There's some.
Yeah. Folks, if you want clover, increase your stock and density. Put them in here fairly tight, move them more frequently. You'll get more clover coming into your pasture without seeding anything.
If you didn't know how many cows had been on this and for how long, and you just saw the land, what are the top few reasons that you would say this needs to be rested?
I don't see any energy.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking for the succulent tips. There are no succulent tips.
Like new tips? Okay.
Well, yeah, something that looks palatable to me. Everything's been rolled over pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know that one's been fouled. Did y'all know a cow eats with 5 mouths? And then y'all heard that one. All right, so you just picked up something new. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So as a cow grazes across the paddock, and she stepped in that manure patch or a urine patch, and she walks on forage, fouls it. She ain't gonna eat that. She's not gonna eat it. So even though he just found a plant tip there, it's probably fouled. It's got manure smell on it. So that's a sense, that's a false sense that you've got a lot of grass out there. Oh my God, look at the grass. No, it's been fouled. That's why they're not eating it. It's got poop smell on it. Folks, when you move cattle, you open the gate and the cattle come rushing through the gate and immediately throw their head down and start eating. That's a red flag. Did y'all hear that? When you open the gate and the cows get up and like, really? You want us to move again? Really? All right, I guess we will. And they come walking through and they'll walk clear to the end of the paddock, wherever that is. Then they put their heads down and start grazing back. That's what you want to see. But if you open that gate and they come charging through and they stick their head down like they're starving to death, you should have moved them sooner. So they're telling you. I told you yesterday, if you'll watch your cows, they'll tell you what they need. That one's telling you he needs to be moved. But unfortunately, there's not a really good high energy paddock to put him on, but he could really use some extra groceries right now. This one just pulled off a blackberry vine. That's not normal for cows. So if they're grazing blackberries, my God, they need to be moved.
What about the tree limbs there?
Tree limbs, I see that. Even a really fat cow is fed well, they'll reach up and grab them a tree leaf. And especially mulberries. They love mulberry leaves. soft maple. They don't eat sycamore very well. They don't eat sycamore leaves. See, they've taken it down. They're not touching that.
Why not?
Because it's been fouled. It doesn't have any energy in it.
How long does that last?
It'll last a long time until you brush hog it off and get it trampled on the ground, let new stuff grow up through it. Folks, this is a good test. When you can reach out with your hand and snap it off. That was a lot of work. You can't ask a cow to do that. They're doing it with their tongue. They need to really reach out there and in one pass, just bite it off. Okay? A cow can only take 40,000 bites a day. Did y'all hear that?
40,000 bites.
40,000 bites a day. And so when they get to 40,000, they can still be hungry. They can't take another bite. That's it. But back to the grazing, a cow takes her tongue. You want her to be able to reach out and get a mouthful with each tongue full so that she fills up quicker. She lays down in the shade or out here in the sun and ruminates. She ruminates. She breaks that material down. She gets up, poops, and goes back and does it again. And she may not have to take 40,000 bites. She may only have to take 20,000. So a cow doesn't bite grass off. They use the tongue. They rip it. That's what that big old rough, coarse tongue's about. They're pulling it into their mouth at lightning speed. And I've seen cows go up to a really succulent plant. I'm like, man, she's gonna nail that one. She's going right toward it. And her tongue will come out. It'll go around that succulent plant and it'll grab the plant on the back side of it. At lightning speed. She just walks past and I'm like, what the heck? It wasn't any good. It didn't have as high energy as the plant right behind it. Folks, cows have been grazing for however long you believe the world's been here. That's how long they've been grazing, okay? And they've adapted. They can do it at lightning speed. And there's actually a symbiosis going on between the grazing animal and the plant. Have you all heard of the compound on the end of the nose called smooze? There was an article written in, oh gosh, Graze, the Graze magazine. And the title of the article was Smooze, S-M-O-O-Z-E. It's a mucus. And what it is, it's a steroid that makes the grass come screaming back. So when the cow reaches down to graze, she leaves a little smooze on the end of the plant. And the plant's like, ah, thank you. And it grows back. So it's that symbiosis between the grazing animals and the grass.
And Greg, so when you get that tug, what's happening with that plant underneath?
Yes. So when people say, but I got my hay field and I want to mow that. Well, go ahead and mow it. But look at the area you graze versus your hay field. The grazed area will always beat the mowed area back in regrowth. And because of the pulling action of the tongue, when the tongue reaches out and yanks on that grass, it transfers that energy down the stalk of the grass into the roots. There's billions of little microbes living on those root hairs. And all of a sudden they feel that tug, and they're like, they all get woken up and they all start eating each other. And transferring food back to the plant to replenish that top. When a sickle bark comes across, there's no pulling action. It just chops it off, so you don't get that tugging action. And also with a machine, you're not getting the animal impact, the treading, you're not getting any fertilizer. And so a grazed pasture will beat a clipped pasture back every time in regrowth.